Hey everybody, what's going on? It's James here with Crypto Common Sense, and I have your Bitcoin/cryptocurrency update for Wednesday, February the 19th. Before I jump into the content for this video, please do me a huge favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and also don't forget to click that bell icon to get notifications when I release new updates. So yesterday I took most of the day off. Had some stuff going on with the family, some good stuff, some celebrations and things. So hung out with family, watched a couple of movies, and just relaxed a little bit. When I finally did sit down at the computer and take a look at the charts, I only looked at them for maybe 15-20 minutes yesterday, and I had noticed that we just had this pump. When I went to bed, I wasn't in a long or a short other than my spot, but when I woke up, it had pumped, $500-$600, whatever it was, and I was able to open a short almost right away. So I want to talk about why I opened that short and also what I expect over the next couple of days or couple of weeks. So first things first, when we take a look at a daily chart, we really haven't broken out of any of these important trend lines as far as support goes. The only thing we really did was break through resistance. This top trend line, this downward sloping trend line, this is actually the trend line that goes back to the December 2017 all-time high and then connects with the summer of 2019 high. So that's basically the top line of resistance, and you can see that the pump broke through it, and right now we're actually coming down for a retest of it. So I do have a trailing stop loss on my short position, so if it suddenly starts to go back up, it'll stop me out. I'm already in profit, so no matter what happens, it's a winning trade, and those are always really nice. Okay, so if it does break back through this level here, then we can start talking about these other support levels, this trend line, this trend line, this trend line. We can start talking about things like the 200-day moving average, which is way down here around $8,800 or so. We can talk about things like the 19-week moving average, all those supports that I talked about in the last video. But as long as it's above that line, we really don't need to think about those at all. First, we need to see, is it going to break south of this line, right? Which is right around 10 grand. So if 10 grand holds, could be that we're going to move up to the next level. Now you might be wondering, why did I open a short? What made me want to open a short after Bitcoin had just pumped really from around $9,500 up to 10.3? And the answer is really very basic, right? It was the most ironic thing. When I first woke up, I checked Twitter, and I had this goofball who does not understand trading and has decided to become this troll who follows me just to troll. And he said something along the lines of, isn't it amazing when the market gets bullish, I disappear. I didn't disappear at all. I just, wasn't on Twitter today because I wasn't on the computer today, number one. And when he posted that, I'd only been asleep for a couple of hours, right? So kind of wild, right? I have to sleep. I know that's a newsflash to some people out there. But the other thing that was kind of ironic was he was getting all bullish, saying this was a bullish move. And guys, if you know anything about charts and anything about technical analysis, this was not a bullish move, okay? If we turn this into a line chart, it's going to be very easy to see what's going on, right? This was the double top. Some people call those M's, like the letter M in the alphabet. And when you have a double top, it's very traditional to come up and retest what's called the neckline, which is the low point in the middle of that double top. So up, down, right? There's your double top. So what did this do? It actually came up and retested that neckline. What is that called? In trading, that's called a bearish retest. That's literally what it's called, okay? So when you have a level of support, which is what this was, you break through it and you come up and test it from the underside, it's a bearish retest. Now, had this closed above that, that would have indeed been very bullish in nature, but it didn't close above that. All it did was throw a wick above it and then come right back down and close underneath it. And that's actually a place where a lot of professional traders were waiting and watching so that they could open short positions. And if you look right now, if you had opened a short at that level at 10,236, you'd be up about $180-ish right now, so almost 2%. Plus whatever leverage you might be using. So very textbook stuff. This was not a reason to get bullish in the slightest bit, okay? If you look at the RSI tells the exact same story as price. You had this rising wedge and broke south of it, and it turned back up, but it didn't break back up inside of the wedge, Okay, so this is not bullish. You know, I know this move looks bullish, and that's the whole intent, right? The market makers and the powers that be, when they do pump Bitcoin 4, 5, 6% like this, people FOMO back in. Even people who were, you know, smart and taking profits back here, a lot of them get scared and say, screw it, I'm just going to buy back what I sold. And then once they buy back in, typically speaking, that's when the market says, haha, got you. And then they dump the market, and those people end up, you know, left holding the bag. So this is indeed bearish in nature, and you know, really what I'm interested in right now is, will it lose this level of support? Okay, breaking through that resistance, that was a feather in the bull's cap, but this is the main level of resistance they need to break through. Okay, until then, you know, I'm going to be bearish in nature, because this is indeed trying to move down, right? It's trying to correct. We don't know if it will correct or not, but it looks like it's trying to. Now, the other thing is if you look, we have a potential, and please pay special attention to the word potential because it's not confirmed, but we do have a potential head and shoulders trying to form here. So this can come down and break this neckline right here at 9,700. That's going to be a bearish signal. And the target of that head and shoulders, depending on how you measure it, depending on how you draw it, but if we go from this top here to this bottom here, it's about a $671 move. If we pull that down, that would give us a move down to around 9,000 bucks. Okay, so let's take a couple of these lines off, and let's put some Fibonacci levels on there. So we'll draw some fibs from the bottom back here to the top right here, and 9,000 bucks will be down right around this 38.2. Now here's the thing, in a really good trend, a lot of times what you'll do is you'll pull back to the 38.2, and then you'll just keep going up. So that would indeed be a level that I would want to watch and make sure that I'm on the lookout for longs if it looks like the market's trying to move back up. And of course, that's assuming it even gets there. We don't know if it will. Okay, but if you go back in time, just to give you an example of this, and then if you look at this on an even bigger time frame, when the market did first start to correct, you know, it topped out at almost $14,000, and then when it pulled back here in July, it actually just came down to that 38.2. So if you had been buying there, you could have bought around 9,800 bucks and then sold it on the bounce to over 13 grand. Could have made, you know, what is that, about 30% or so? Would have been a really killer trade. Okay, so 38.2, it's, you know, it's like at the other levels. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. It's just a level I want to watch. Okay, I don't normally, you know, go blindly running in like, oh God, it hit the 38.2, I've got to put my money in, or, you know, oh gosh, it hit 38.2, I got to short it. Nothing like that. Just something to keep an eye on, just like these other trend lines. Okay. The other thing I'll talk about on this chart real quickly, and then we'll look at some other charts. We do have this fractal. Again, I'm just watching it. You know, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not even expecting it to happen. I'm just keeping it in mind in case my earlier analysis back from 2019 ended up being correct, and this ends up being a false bottom back here. You can see that we had this fractal. It was playing out semi-close on a couple of candles, right? Pretty close on this candle, exact on this candle, so on and so forth. We had fallen really far away from it here, but this green candle here, yesterday's candle, actually came up right to the tippy top. Watch this. See where the top of that wick is? Now watch as I put the ghost bars on. Almost perfect match on that top. And then today's top so far, same thing. Look at where the wick is. It's sitting right at 10.2. Put the ghost bars back on, 10.2, right? So just interesting, right? Again, it's not like I'm going to go short just because of a fractal, but I do want to keep in, you know, mind what has happened historically, and that's what happened in July of 2018. So again, if this plays out, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at coming down to this level. Again, that's down around the 61.8 Fibonacci level. We're looking at a pump, and then, you know, a dump from there. And if you look, you know, like I mentioned in previous videos, that would be a head and shoulders, okay? So if we measure that from the top up here down to the bottom, it's around 2,500 bucks. From the bottom down, that give it a target down around 5,300 bucks, which actually lines up perfectly or almost perfectly with the bottom of that fractal. So I do find that very interesting. Regardless of what happens, right, if we come down to that $7,800 to $8,000 area though, I will be looking for longs more than shorts, just because even if this fractal plays out, you can see that it still has a really nice bounce in that area, about an 18% bounce. So why not take advantage if it looks like it's going to play out again, right? And again, if you draw the fibs, this is just ballparking it. It's not attached with a magnet. They're down around that $8,000 area, okay? So that's what I'm going to be watching on the larger time frame, the daily chart for Bitcoin. On a slightly larger time frame, we have the 3-day chart. And the 3-day chart, again, the level that I'm watching right now that I'm most interested in is going to be this green bar, which is actually that 95.50 area, because that's a very strong area of support. If that holds, it's very bullish in nature. If it collapses, I think price is going to move down quite a bit from there, probably at least 5 to 10% from that point. And if we look at the RSI, remember we have this green line of support and resistance, right? We had fallen underneath it on the last candle's close, not yesterday. And then so far on this new green candle, we've popped back above it. But this green candle opened on February 18th, so there's still a lot of time left before it closes. And again, it's very easy to see, if you put a horizontal ray on here, really all that happened was this collapsed, found support here, bounced up, and found resistance right there. So it's basically developed, what I would call a range. The bottom of a range down around 95.50, top of a range up around 10.2 to 10.3, up in that ballpark. Okay, we can just call it 10.3 to make it easy. So 9,500 to 10.3, like an $800 range. All right. So that's what I'm watching on the 3-day chart. I'm not going to talk about the weekly chart because it's too early in the week. It really doesn't matter. Okay. As far as the smaller time frames, I want to give you guys a couple of pointers here because I think a lot of people were caught off guard by that pump. There were bulls who missed it and thought, gosh, I wish I went along that. And then there were bears who were shorting it and thought, oh man, I just got smoked. And really the pump was not surprising at all. So if you look at this in a 4-hour chart, it was moving down, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And right here, when it put in this higher low, that could have been a signal to, definitely get out of any short positions and maybe even go long. And if you look at the 1-hour chart, it was even more obvious because we had this upward sloping trend line on RSI. It was support here. Well, really it started here. Then you had your second touch here. Then right through here, there was this false break. But when it came down right here and put in this higher low, it actually found support right on top of it. So if I had been in a short position, I definitely would have been looking to close it and take profits right here. I don't know that I would have necessarily longed Bitcoin right there. That's a whole different story. But I would have been getting out of the way and just letting it play out and kind of see what developed. Okay. So make sure you're watching the RSI trend lines. It'll help you tremendously and it'll help keep you from getting caught offsides. So next up, obviously, let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is really still in this no man's land. It's between what I would call resistance right now and support. So as far as which way it's going, still really tough to tell, right? If you look at the daily chart, still really down here. It's not quite oversold anymore, but still pretty far down. And this does look pretty weak to me, so I would expect more downside on Bitcoin dominance, which of course means that alts will gain. But I don't feel strongly enough about it that I would be betting on that happening. Okay, this could absolutely, surprise me and continue moving up from here. Though again, I don't really expect that. I'm not going to bet against it. One of the things that I do notice when I look at this on a daily chart is we have this downward sloping trend line on RSI. And it does appear to have broke through that. So if it comes back down and finds support on this, that would be a sign to me that Bitcoin is going to gain some ground. And if it falls back through, of course, it would be just the opposite. Okay. Speaking of altcoins, they had quite the day today. I didn't trade any alts today or anything, or yesterday, depending on how you look at it. It's 2 a.m. for me right now. So it's technically a new day. But I didn't trade any alts or anything, but I did actually take a look at a few of the charts just because I saw that my portfolio, my hold portfolio had went up quite a bit. So I was like, whoa, what happened here? And yeah, some of these alts were just amazing, right? Like take a look at Zcash. Zcash went up, I think it was like 33% from its bottom here to its top. Crazy, almost 34%. Can you imagine how many people FOMOed in on this giant wick right here? This is a big wick, right? That's a almost 11% wick. I'm sure tons of people were FOMOing in, but again, if you look at this on a line chart, it really doesn't look bullish, right? It just looks like a low and a lower high. So it doesn't mean I'm going to go out and sell the Zcash that I'm holding, because it's a long-term investment that I plan on holding until it either meets my profit targets far in the future or until it goes to zero, right? You know, I took profits on part of what I was holding, and that's fine. I'll wait. Look to buy that back cheaper. I think I sold it around 72 bucks, right? So I still haven't bought that back. But as far as what I'm holding, you know, I'm okay holding it and writing it down if that's what I need to do. I don't have a problem with that at all. If we take a look at Litecoin, I'm not holding, well, I'm holding a tiny bit of Litecoin, and I do mean a very, very small amount of Litecoin. To be totally frank with you, I didn't even know I had it. It was on one of the exchanges that I almost never log into, and I noticed it the other day. It's almost nothing. For now, I'm still waiting. I don't see anything that makes me want to run back into Litecoin, right? Again, this just looks like a pullback with a lower high. And to me, right now, it still looks like this is going to continue moving down. Okay, get something like this. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Okay, and if I am wrong, it's fine. I don't, you know, I'm not in a big hurry to buy Litecoin. If it starts to go back up and, you know, suddenly looks bullish, you know, maybe I will buy it back, but I don't know. I'm okay not having any Litecoin except for this little dinky amount that I have. Right, I'm fine just putting that money back into Bitcoin. I'm not like a Litecoin fanboy or anything. I just happen to have it because I bought it in anticipation of the Litecoin halving in 2019. That's why I had so much of it in the first place. So that's kind of, you know, Litecoin looks kind of doggish to me. If we take a look at like EOS, I know EOS had a really big day. I sold about 60% of my EOS, but I'm still holding about 40%. So I noticed it had quite the pump, which was nice. Well, I guess it was nice. It doesn't really mean anything because I didn't sell anything on it. But it did pump from around $4 up to around $4.66. So that was a nice 16% pump. And, you know, but again, you know, some people are getting super bullish. I saw some people on social media saying they were buying EOS in the pump and everything. And, you know, maybe that works out for them. I don't know if it will or not. But if you really look at this thing, you have this really deep pullback, right? From the top here to the bottom was a 27% pullback. It was about $1.50 roughly that it lost. And all it really did was bounce about 65 cents. So it didn't even bounce halfway back up, right? And that's typically, if you're talking about, you know, trading, it's what a dead cat bounce looks like, right? You come down, you bounce up, and then you keep going down. So again, to me, that looks like the start of a downtrend, but there's not enough information to guarantee that. There's never enough information to guarantee it, but there's not even enough information to say that I feel strongly about it. Right now, I'm still waiting for this to unfold so that I can get some more information. But if it is the start of a downtrend, you know, it could end up looking something like this, where our target's set around $3.16. You know, that's pretty deep. That's down between the 61.8 and the 78.6. So it is pretty deep, but it's not so deep that it would be like, oh my God, that's unheard of. What happened, right? In terms of alts, they pull back 70% all the time, right? It wouldn't be unusual at all. That's kind of what I'm watching on EOS. I'm not rushing back to my positions. Like I said, I'm still holding about 40%. You know, one thing about the EOS for me is it is indeed a free position. I've done pretty well in EOS over the last couple of years. So worst case for me, if it does end up collapsing and not coming back up, you know, on those 40% I'm holding, at least it's profits I'm losing versus, you know, money that I put in out of the bank, for example. So yeah, I mean, I haven't taken a look at all the alts. You know, let's look at XRP. But I mean, when I just glance at them, like some of the majors here, they all look pretty much the same. They all just look like they had a dead cat bounce. And until I have more information, I don't want to go long on them. Now, I'm not shorting them either. I'm really just watching Bitcoin for the most part. And I do expect that, hey, look, if Bitcoin finds support, for example, up on this daily level up here, right, then yeah, absolutely. If this finds support and starts moving up, I think those alts will move up with it. But, you know, since I expect that Bitcoin's trying to correct right now, we all know that the altcoins tend to overreact. So if Bitcoin corrects, you know, 20 or 30%, it wouldn't be unusual at all to see those altcoins bleed 30 to 50%. So I'll wait and I'll be patient. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit shorter than some of my other ones, but really we're just playing a waiting game. And, as soon as I feel like I've got a good, eye on the market and what's next, I'll make sure and let you guys know. But for right now, I lean toward the fact that this is probably a correction. This is probably a dead cat bounce. But again, don't forget, we're sitting on top of this long-term resistance flip support. So this could absolutely be getting ready to move up another leg. Okay, so be careful and make sure you're using your stop losses if you are trading, and make sure that you're using proper risk management so you don't, get destroyed if a sudden wick or a sudden tail comes into play. So with all that being said, guys, please remember I am literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom, so nothing in this video is financial advice. You should always do your own due diligence and seek out professional investment advice before making any type of investment in cryptocurrency. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And of course, don't forget you can check the description for links where you can follow me on TradingView, Twitter, where you can join my free Facebook group, and where you can join my trading course if you'd like to learn technical analysis. This is James with Crypto Common Sense, reminding you to please trade safe.